So you haven't played Division 2 for a very long time, or maybe you're just thinking about purchasing the game now for the very first time and you don't know if the game is actually worth playing in 2023. Well, in this video I will try to help you make up your mind by offering you as much information as possible about the state of the game, the future of the game, new content and all those things, and most importantly the state of the game. My personal opinion about the game will be on the final chapter of this video, but before we get there I will try to present to you some facts. Now, in order to understand where Division 2 is headed, we need to talk about where it was. The game for over a year was on life support, with the developers completely dropping the game because they had to work on other projects. Season 5, 6, 7 and 8 were all reruns of Season 1, 2, 3 and 4. That means that for a year the game received 0 new content and 0 new updates. The developers started releasing new content for the game a little less than a year ago. Since then we have gotten a new game mode called Countdown, 2 new legendary missions, 2 new seasons, Season 9 and Season 10, and both of these 2 seasons actually progress the story furthermore, which is obviously a big thing for those of you who are interested in the lore of the game. And of course we got a bunch of new items like new exotics, new gear sets and new brand sets. There have also been reworks of older items, quite a few bug fixes, and last but not least we got a new in-game system called Expertise, which makes our players stronger. All these came with a cost. You see, the developer team that came back to support the game is not the same team that developed Division 2 in the first place, so there have been quite a few issues with almost every new update that went out. Depending on who you ask, they will tell you their own version of the story and how bad those bugs were. In my opinion, even though game-breaking bugs are not acceptable, I'm happy to get new content. So I don't agree with the idea that the game is somehow worse now with all the new content that we got than it used to be a year ago when we didn't have anything to do. And since we're talking about how the new developer team is struggling, let's talk about Season 11. Season 11 was supposed to be released during December. However, it got delayed to early 23 because of an issue the devs had to deal with. I'm mentioning this because it's time to talk about the future of the game. A few months back we got confirmation for a Year 5 content cycle. That means that Division 2 will get new content throughout 2023. However, since Season 11, which was part of Year 4, got delayed, that also means that Year 5 content will start coming out later this year than it was first scheduled to. Right now, all we know about Year 5 is that it will bring a new game mode and that the next season will not be Season 12, but Season 1. There is also going to be a Year 5 stream where they're gonna reveal pretty much what type of content we can expect later this year as we get closer to Season 1. With all that being said, everywhere you look on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, etc., you will see people saying the game is dead, everyone has left, blah blah blah. If you're thinking about getting the game or coming back to it, these comments could be discouraging, however they're not true. They only exist because individuals stop playing the game themselves or they can't stop playing and others think everyone has stopped playing, which obviously it's nonsense. But let's talk about why these claims of Division 2 being dead are simply wrong. First of all over Reddit and official forums you see questions from new players, which means that the game keeps on getting brand new players. That proves that there's a healthy amount of new players purchasing the game and playing it. It's not only veterans that still play this game, but there are brand new players as well. Moving on, we have Discord servers, which are filled with players, both new and veterans, very active Discord servers with plenty of people you can find to play with. If the game was dead, those Discord servers, those Discord communities should have died as well. The third point I want to make is YouTube viewership. Even at periods where we're just waiting for the next season and we don't have much to talk about, YouTube viewership remains great. Trust me on this one. I have a channel with just 4,000 subscribers, and during December, which was a month with much fewer uploads and much less views simply because it was the holiday season, I got about 80,000 views, which is a lot if you consider my subscriber count. September, which was when Season 10 came out and interest in the game was much higher, I got about 150,000 views. And that's with just a small channel with 4,000 subscribers. A channel with 20,000 subscribers or even more obviously gains a lot more views than I do. So there are plenty of people interested in the game. The last and most important point in my opinion is that Ubisoft wouldn't send a team to support Division 2 if the game was truly dead, and definitely wouldn't greenlight a Year 5 content roadmap if nobody was playing it. It doesn't make sense financially to have a team behind a game that doesn't generate any revenue. Overall, the game, in my opinion, is in a much better state than it was a year ago, and the future looks very promising. The dev team seem to understand what the players want most of the times, and their ideas, in my opinion, are great. To give a few examples, they managed to turn the Manhunt target missions from being boring and repetitive missions into some of the best missions in the entire game. Dark Zone changes like targeted loot dropping and contaminating, meaning you don't need to extract it because it goes right into your inventory, and landmark chests dropping exotic components, which are very useful at the end game, are all things that start to make the Dark Zones much more appealing even to PvE players like myself. The way I see it is that the developers have realized that they need to do something about the PvP and the Dark Zones in Division 2 simply because it's nowhere near as good as it used to be with Division 1. A lot of core mechanics of the game and a lot of decisions of the developers, like having 3 separate Dark Zones instead of 1, made sure that the PvP in this game was never going to be as successful as it was in the first one. So I think they're preparing the Dark Zones to be more appealing to PvE players, and they're waiting for the specialization revamp to drop, which we don't know yet when it's coming, but we know that a big specialization revamp will happen in Year 5 in order to make the PvP and the Dark Zones much more interesting and much more appealing to the player base than it is right now. And last but not least, all the new gear that they release is actually fun to play with. It seems to me like they're making sure that the number one priority when it comes to new gear, new missions, new game modes is if it's fun. And if it's fun, then it gets the green light and they move forward with it. I haven't seen a single gear set, a single brand set, a single exotic or game mode or mission that they introduced that wasn't actually fun to play. And I think that's the biggest success, if you wish, from this developer team, that they're prioritizing player fun. Another very telling decision, in my opinion, was to launch the Elite Task Force once again for Division 2. For those of you who don't know what the Elite Task Force is, pretty much a bunch of people apply to become members of the Elite Task Force. The criteria, from my understanding, is pretty much how much experience you have with the game, amongst other things, which I assume is the most important. Then the developers go through all the applications, they choose the players that seem to be more promising, and then they create this big Elite Task Force team, which is going to have an inside view of what the developers are working on. They're going to give feedback on their ideas, they're going to give suggestions on game modes, missions, gear, everything pretty much, right? Quality of life changes and all those things, in order to make sure that the future updates will be much better than the ones that we're getting right now are. Even though the ones that we get right now, in my opinion, are pretty decent, they're gonna make sure that the quality of future updates are going to be even better. This whole process, in my opinion, shows that the developers really care about the future content of the game and the quality of the content. Otherwise, they wouldn't go into this complicated and tiring process, in my opinion. They would just release what they had in mind and they wouldn't care. But again, it shows that the people supporting Division 2 right now really care about the game. In my honest opinion, the developers are doing a pretty good job, with a few exceptions, of course, here and there when they fuck up everything. However, shit happens, and as I said earlier, I would rather have a game-breaking bug for a couple of weeks, if that means that I get tons of new content every season, than not have any game-breaking bugs but get absolutely zero new content. So if you're a returning player, there are plenty of things for you to do, and more will come as we progress into year 5. If you're a brand new player, assuming you purchased the Warlords of New York DLC, the game has so many things to offer you, and you can spend at least 300 to 400 hours in game before you can say you have done mostly everything. And the game is just gonna keep getting better, at least for the next year or so. So that's it pretty much, guys. That's my opinion about the state of the game, if it's worth coming back, the future of the game, and if you should care about it at all. Now, before I close the video, I want to let you guys know about a giveaway that I will be hosting on my Discord server. Pretty much during December, I think it was, there was a contest in the official Division 2 Discord server. The contest was called Beginner's Guide. People were submitting their guides for new players. I submitted my build guide, which is on my channel. You can go there and find it. I think I placed number 8 or something like that, and the reward for that was a Warlords of New York DLC code copy. I got it. Sadly, I had to choose region and platform. I chose PC on EU. So in case you would like that code, in case you don't have the DLC and you are on PC and on EU, join my Discord server. The invitation link will be down below in the description, and go into the giveaway room. Let me know you're interested, and at the end of next week or maybe 2 weeks from now, I will randomly choose a winner and give that code to him or her. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope that you found the video helpful. If you did, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more content. Have a wonderful day, everybody.